Welcome back to the Brandon Bloom podcast. I'm your host, Ebony Rose, and today we have a very special guest. We have LaKesha Davis, who is the owner of Healing to Happiness. So, welcome, Keisha.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you thinking enough about me to come
Yeah,
join you in your space.
absolutely. You were one of my clients in my build up program, and you were one that had a very well, to me, it was a very exciting journey.
Yeah.
So, I've seen you in the program. I've seen you after the program, venturing out on your own as far as like your content for your business. And I thought it would be a good idea to have you as a guest on here to talk about your brand and talk about your experience in the program and just how you feel now approaching your content for your brand. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. So my first question for you is what inspired you to launch Healing to Happiness and what vision did you have when you first started it?
Ooh. Okay. I'm not even gonna say that's a loaded question. That's an
Mhm.
interesting question.
Okay.
You want me to be transparent, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll
Yes.
be
Yes.
honest.
Yes.
And so coming to work with you, Ebony, I don't know if you remember, um, I didn't have a vision for
Yeah.
healing to happiness. You
Yeah.
remember that?
Remember.
Yep, I didn't have one. But how I got to a place of launching it was because of doors closing.
Mm,
It just was a season in time where I think it started like around COVID or something like that, and the management job I was in, it just wasn't lining up for that season. I
mhm.
had gone on a couple different interviews, and you know how you go on an interview and you know, like, oh, I rocked that interview,
Yes.
like I did that.
Yep.
Um, and so I would go on all these interviews. They would love me. I would love the idea of the position. Only for every single door to be closed, every single situation to be like, yeah, no, we're gonna go with someone else. We loved you though, and we'll keep your resume on file.
Yep.
And I got to a place where I was just sitting there like, okay, I got these credentials, I got skills, I got things I can do.
Yep.
But there was a part of me that never really wanted to consider private practice and like doing my own thing.
Yeah.
And I think I sat with my husband one day and he was like, yeah, what are you really doing?
Mm,
I think it's time and it's loud and clear for you to go into your own space.
yeah.
So that's really how it came about. I
Wow.
want to say it was like I don't want to use the word force. I don't
Mhm.
like that word, but I will say a redirecting. It
Okay.
was a redirecting of where I was at the time. So when I did get into it, it took me some time. I had to work under people. I had a mentor who was amazing, who helped me with setting up and learning about that side of the business.
Mhm.
But a vision? No, I didn't have one.
Wow. Would you say now that you have been in this, that your vision has come more alive for Healing to Happiness?
I think it's building.
Okay.
Because right now, as you know, it's just me. I'm a single therapist doing this work alone.
Yeah.
But what I'm seeing right now, like I can see the holes and I can see the needs
Mm,
of the people.
yep.
And I think a lot of stuff just isn't getting met.
Mm,
And the structure that I'm in private practice really doesn't allow me to even assist with some needs that might be met. So I think my vision
mm,
is still growing. It's still in process. So I have ideas, but the vision is not fully there yet.
gotcha. That
Yeah.
kind of leads me to my next question. So, as a licensed marriage and family therapist, what gap did you see that made you want to even take on this private practice? Because I know you necessarily didn't want to, but now
Yeah.
that you're in it and you kind of said it a little bit, but what gap did you see that made you kind of want to build it in your own way with all the things you were receiving about what people need and what people
Yeah.
aren't getting?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I came from a background in, like, if you name it, I've worked it. I've worked in group homes, I've worked in psych hospitals, I've worked in substance programs, I've worked with community-based, like it really intensive mental health issues. And one thing that I would always see is where are the programming needs for just your typical, I'm gonna use my air quotes, right? Your
Mhm.
typical family
Yeah.
who's just struggling with some familial things, some, understanding around relationships, some, basic dysfunction. There's some depression, there's some anxiety. And so a lot of times when I would be in some of those other roles, you would have people, again, your average individuals and families looking for help, but they don't meet criteria
Mm.
for, some of the programming or the things that's out there. So being able to be a private practice where it's like, okay, I get to have a large say so and all the say so about who I'm going to take, how I'm going to, engage in therapy with people, what I'm going to provide.
Mhm.
I get the independence and the autonomy to be able to do that. So I think, like you're saying, like able to fill that gap or
Yeah.
at least provide a space for people where it's like, they might go to these big old agencies and they're like, man, I can't get in for like 3 months,
Right. Yeah.
or, the turnover rate is rough because
Right.
people get in and they leave. So,
Right.
being able to have this private practice space for them to just meet the needs of your, again, basic people without
Yeah.
sounding like I'm saying something
Right.
bad.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think that's awesome that you could kind of shape it to how you want it to
Hmm.
be because you know what people need out there. So I think that's really good. Okay, great. So we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit and we're going to talk about your experience in the build up program.
Mm.
I think you were my second person to sign up for the program in general. So thank you for trusting me with your brand, first of all.
Yep.
So you completed the program and just to quickly give like some of your takeaways from that whole experience. You said a little bit, but give a little bit more about your experience with that program.
Mm. It, and I think I said this to you before. Um, the build up program was almost like a version of therapy. It was
Mm.
therapeutic, for me.
Yeah,
As I said, I'm coming into a space and I'm being thrusted. I have this business and what do I do with it?
right.
So me and you forming that relationship and then, knowing that you have this program and I've wanted to kind of put myself out there, you were able to like literally, first of all, walk hand in hand with me. Like the accessibility, when I would come into sessions sometimes and be like, Ebony, I don't know. That I don't have no answers for that. Like you're asking me these questions, you're giving me homework.
Yep.
And as a therapist, I always tell people, you're gonna get this homework now because you got things you got to do outside of the session.
Right.
And so that's what you would give me. You would give me things to do outside of the session. Um, and even when I would come back and be like, Ebony, I couldn't do it. I'm struggling with these answers. I think it's still like, first of all, you were patient, right?
Mm.
You were super patient and you were able to help guide me in certain ways. And I was still able to understand even like, why am I stuck? And I think the biggest thing for me was like, girl, you stuck because you ain't got no vision. All these
Mm.
questions she's asking you about, what's this and what direction do you want to go and what do you want to say? It's hard to have something to say when you ain't got no vision about what you're speaking on.
Right, right. Yeah,
So I think it was your presence, the patience, you helping me to, in a very therapeutic way, understand my voice,
yeah,
the power of my voice, in this
yeah.
space. The guidance, like even when we went to do the tapings or the postings or anything like that, you breaking it down into like micro pieces of
Mhm.
stuff for me to it'd be palatable. Like I ain't choking on it. Like,
Right,
okay,
right.
I can do that. So th those were like huge highlights for me. But the biggest revelation of understanding, like, girl, how you gonna say something
Mm.
when you don't even have the understanding for yourself of
Mm.
what this thing is outside of just providing service to people?
Right. So it sounds like this program gave you that space to have those moments where you could think about what your vision is instead
Absolutely.
of just saying, oh, or just coming up with something
Hmm.
that you think your vision is.
Absolutely.
But that's part of what the program is. It's literally walking you through, even when you have no idea what it is you want to do,
Yeah.
because a lot of people come in not knowing what they want to do and they don't even know where to start. So I'm happy to hear that that was your experience. Thank you for
Hmm.
sharing that.
Yeah.
So how has the build up program influenced the way that you show up as the face of your business now? Because you didn't talk about it before, but you struggled with being the face of your brand, like doing videos and all the facial things that you needed to do on social media, which I get.
Hmm.
But how has this program influenced you now? I know you may not do it now, but you are active on your brand
Yeah.
more than you were. So
Yeah.
how do you go about your content now after being in the program?
Hmm. I think the program in and of itself helped me to understand me. It helped me to understand like where I was,
Mm-hmm.
not even just in a business, but okay, these are the things that are like blocking you, or these are the things I don't even want to say that you have to work on, but you have to gain awareness about.
Right.
And one of the biggest things I had to gain awareness about was me and how I felt about like being upfront and, being out there and the discomfort, around that. To this day, that still is not an easy thing for me.
Yeah.
But I'm working it through. And one thing you've taught me, like even in the patience, like the stuff that you would give me in those moments, the kindness, the patience, sometimes it would be room and space for me. I would have tears. Now I'm crying. I'm like, okay, hold on, Ebony. I'm just crying for a second as I'm reflecting. And so
Right.
one of the biggest things for me is make room and make space. No
Yeah.
pressure,
Right.
right? No pressure. If you don't have anything to say, you don't have anything to say,
Exactly. Yep.
right?
Yep.
Don't force it. And I think in the beginning phases, you had put me through a like a 30-day challenge. Well, I kind of put myself through there.
I was
And
about to say you decided that you wanted to do a 30. I said, wait, you want to do what? You want to post for 30 days?
oh my
That was
God,
all you.
why you let me do that? I never know. However,
It was a challenge.
it was a challenge. And what it taught me is that I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I show up online and what content, I'm doing the things that you did for me. I make
Mm-hmm.
space for myself. I make room for myself. I'm not judgmental about myself. If I don't post for 7 days, I don't post for 7 days. I
Yeah.
think I put a post up there that was like healing, and I put it like all over the page. I was like, that's it, y'all. That's the
At the
post.
post. Right.
That's the post. That's
That's the
it.
post.
So everything doesn't have to be so deep. I don't have to always be overthinking things. Like I really am learning like hold room and hold space for yourself, be authentic, be genuine, be compassionate,
Mm.
and patient with yourself. And that's what I do.
Right. That is what you do. And even with the 30-day challenge that you wanted to do, I think even we kind of dialed that back because we only did like the week and then the weekends we were off. And
Yeah.
that's okay to do.
Yep.
If you, even if you want to set out to do a challenge, it's okay to course correct and say, okay, maybe I can't do 30 days, maybe I'll do 25 or whatever.
Yeah.
And that is okay.
Hmm.
I think the challenges that come with the 30 days is just to get you in the habit of
Yes,
posting and seeing what it feels like and knowing what to do. Because if you're trying to be on your own posting your content, you need to know what to do. If you don't
absolutely.
have someone like me helping you.
Right.
So,
Yep.
but your content is very thoughtful and intentional. And I know that was one thing that you were very, very adamant about, that you wanted to be intentional with your posting. You didn't just want to post something
Right.
just to say that you posted something. So, what message do you hope people receive when they come across your content?
Mm. As the name of my business, right? Healing to happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping and praying that anybody who comes across my page is inspired to really consider the idea of healing
Mm-hmm.
and what that means. If you don't see anything else, or if you don't take anything else away, from my page or any post that I put out there, is to just the idea of like healing. Like, what does that mean for me?
Yeah.
What will that require for me? What is my relationship right now with healing? And those are some of the questions I might ask. Um, and I think it's, even though it's such a common word, healing or to heal, I think sometimes we take it for granted, or we don't feel like we need to, because there's so many things that are like, normal or normalized. So I just really hope and pray that anybody that comes across my page, the seed is planted about healing and the importance of that.
Yes, and I do see that on your page. a lot of your posts that I see resonate with me, with different areas of my life. So it's definitely thoughtful and intentional when you post. You can feel like you have thought out
Mhm.
before you posted something. So thank you for that. And I want you to kind of walk us through your process, your content creation process. How do you decide what you're going to post on your page?
That's a good question. Um, because I work with people every day, I'm on average, I'm seeing 4 to 7 people a day. Um, it comes a point in time where you'll recognize there's a theme, and
Mm,
there's a theme that people are struggling with.
mm,
And sometimes, matter of fact, a lot of times, even in my space and being a therapist, I'm learning from the people that's sitting across from me. So
right.
they might end up sharing something that might even cause me to like really reflect.
Mm,
So when I'm done talking to the 4 to 7 people, and if it lingers and it sits with me, and I'm like, man, why does it feel like I had the same conversation with all the
mhm,
people
mhm.
today,
Yeah.
and now it's in my spirit because now I'm reflecting on how that situation or how that thought has impacted me
Mm,
in my life.
yeah,
So once I sit with it, then I'm like, yeah, I got to say something about this.
that's good.
So after I sit with it and I'm like, I know for sure I need to say something, then I might, look some things up. Then I'll start thinking about, okay, what do I want this to look like? And let me tell you, people, transparency, right? We write on Chat GPT looking for different things for backgrounds, like what would be a great picture? Because here's what
Right.
I'm thinking about, right?
It's
So
useful. It's
it's
useful.
useful.
And
Listen, I mean,
yeah.
hello. But I will go on Chat GBT, like, what's a good background for this? So I'm
Yep.
thinking about what I want to say, and then I'm thoughtful about what I want the background to be, or at least to
Mm,
resonate, just to pull people in
yeah. Yeah.
in what I'm trying to say. And then I'll get it to help me to put it into words or language,
Yeah.
that can, really reach the people.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you've been doing a great job. I remember, I think it was shortly after you had finished the program, and you were like, I think I just need to take a break. I don't really know what direction I want to go in. And I think it was like a month went by, and then I started seeing you posting stuff. I said, oh, she is doing, she is coming. I said, oh, this post hit me. Like this is good. I was so
Yes.
happy to see that, you were taking initiative with your own brand and
Mm,
actually posting stuff that you felt was needed for your audience.
yeah.
And I think that's important for business owners to just take ownership of their brands, because people aren't going to know anything about you if you're not putting yourself out there in some type of way. So I
Absolutely.
think the way you approach your content is very, very intentional, and the way you post, even the consistency of it, it works for you. You don't have to post every day, but I think when you do post, it lands where it needs to land.
Hmm. Yeah.
So you're doing a very good job with that. So with all the clients you said you see every day
Mhm.
or every week, how do
Mhm.
you balance serving them and then showing up for your brand online?
Yeah. And that's still tricky.
Yeah.
Because depending on the season, I think what you're referencing when I was like really posted and active, my client caseload for whatever reason, in that season it wasn't as much. And so I felt like I had energy
Yeah.
and could sit with different things and say, okay, now I know this is what I want to say. In this season right now, whoo, the schedule is scheduling.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful, right? Because that means I'm helping people.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm a little more silent than I have been in the past. And I am okay with that.
Good.
I don't feel anything pressing on me right now that I need to say.
Yeah.
So, I right now I think it's more about just prioritizing what's going to get most of my attention.
Mm,
But if something comes up and I need to say it, I'm going to make sure, that is posted. So I think it's really just finding a balance. And as the seasons keep shifting, I'll figure out like what that looks like so I can still maintain a
yeah.
presence, but still make sure that the clients who are sitting in front of me are getting the fullness of me.
Yeah. That's good. So I'm gonna skip the next two questions because I feel like we kind of touched on that a little bit. So I'm going to jump to what's been the biggest lesson that you've learned as both a therapist and a business owner?
Ooh, oh, that's good. That's good. I think I'll start with as a therapist.
Mhm.
One of the biggest lessons that I've learned as a therapist is many people want help, but some are not always ready
Yeah,
for the help, you
yeah,
know? So people can show up and think that they're ready and
mhm,
they want it. And I believe it fully.
yeah,
But sometimes when you get into the space and you're showing someone or pointing out some things, you're going to be met with resistance at times.
yeah,
And as a therapist, knowing what that client needs in
mhm,
that moment,
mm,
um, and making the tough decisions if needed, that might maybe it's time to pause therapy for right now.
mhm,
Because sometimes it can be a hindrance. Sometimes people can come and get just used to the idea of I'm sitting with someone, we have a connection, it feels good, she's nice, I like her type
mm,
of thing. And so
yeah,
we're just coming, but this is not girlfriend tea time.
right.
You
Say
know,
that
it's
again.
not that.
Mm,
And so finding that balance of understanding, am I helping versus am I hindering?
mm,
Knowing when to, shift if
mm,
I need to shift,
yeah,
and also understanding when to let go if that's necessary.
mhm,
And I've always known this, but I've gotten better over time with the boundary of I can't work harder than anybody showing up in my office.
mhm,
Anybody who's sitting across from me, you have to be willing to come in and do your work,
right,
and I'm the co-pilot. So
right.
just making sure that I'm not taking on or over functioning more than the person who's here to get the assistance.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
as a business owner, is that the same or would you say it's different?
Ooh, it's a little different. And so I think these two things can kind of connect. I think as people who are in private practice, there's a whole bunch that goes in on the backside as far as pay is concerned, insurances and different stuff like that. And you could easily, if not being careful, fall into a place of playing the numbers game. And
Mm,
so you're in this space of just wanting to make sure I'm getting X amount of clients, each day, each week to
mm,
hit a number because I need to be able to get paid a number. Because it's not like when you go to work, when you work for an employer, you
mm,
know what your takeaway is at the end of every week, every 2 weeks.
yep.
So not playing that numbers game in terms of getting to the financial piece. Because that way you end up forcing situations. It does lead back into what I was saying before. You're forcing situations with people, um, and maybe that's not even the right connection for you to have.
Hmm.
And also, I think as a business owner, there's so much to know on the back end, even just about taxes and, what that looks like
Right.
and,
Yep.
quarterly things and,
Hmm.
making sure you're in compliance. So there's
Yep.
so many other things on the backside too, as far as that's concerned, to make sure. And thankfully, I have like a billing person who runs all that stuff. So that gives me peace of mind. I
Good.
have a tax person that gives me peace of mind. But before I started, I didn't always have those things in place.
Yeah.
And I had to take some tough hits to the chin uh,
Ooh,
to, to learn, you
yeah.
know. So it's business owner. It has its pros and cons. It's a beautiful thing, but there's a lot of things that you have to learn about
Yep.
before you can get to that place of, being comfortable.
Right. And how would you, this is an extra question. How would you feel you're balancing the business and um the online posting, and you're also a wife and you're a mother. So how do you feel like you're balancing all of those at one time?
Ooh, Lord, help me.
I know that's a loaded question. That is.
Yeah. Yeah, I need help. I'm not
Yeah,
going to lie. Sometimes I find I'm in bed with the computer app. I'm in bed with the computer
me
and I
too.
would, yeah, and be in there like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or doing notes, as a therapist, you got to do notes. You have to, this is a structure. You have to be adhering to something. And insurance is like, you see this person you want to get paid, you got to do notes, you got to do treatment plans. So I would be up, but what I would find is that my daughter's missing out or she'll miss me, right? My husband's missing out or he'll miss me.
Yeah.
So I think I'm doing better because now, first of all, there's AI that'll help you do your notes. Thank you, Lord. That's built into the platform, right?
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
HIPAA
It's
compliant.
helpful. It's helpful.
It's so helpful.
Yeah.
So that makes it so I'm not up until 10 o'clock doing notes, right? But outside of that, I have given myself a shutdown. The computer has to be down by like
Mm,
7 o'clock because sometimes I'm not done till 6.
seven.
So yeah, because I'm not done till 6 certain nights.
Mm,
If I get out at 4, the computer has to be done an hour after. But I
mm,
have to make sure that my daughter and my husband are getting daylight hours from me. Because yeah, Nia will
yeah.
come in and be like, Mommy, I miss you. I just feel like I haven't seen you today.
Yeah.
So I feel like in certain times, certain seasons,
Yeah.
something is, above, but I don't want it to be upside down where the business is always at top. Even for me, I got to throw myself in there
That,
in
yeah,
things
I
as
was about
far
to say
as
that.
like, yeah, like self-care. I can tell when I'm not doing well.
Mm,
So my honest answer to that is I'm still learning how to balance it all. And I'm thankful because I have a husband who will let me know, like, hey, what's going on?
yeah.
What we doing here? Um, so, just being open for feedback,
Yeah.
um, and understanding like, yep, I signed up for all these roles, so I got to
Right.
make sure I'm doing what I need to do, in these roles.
Yeah. I feel like every time I ask people that question, it's a similar answer.
Mhm.
And I feel like we're all trying to figure out balance and
Yeah.
priorities and boundaries. So when you
Mhm.
said 7 o'clock, the computer needs to be done, I was like, that's early in my eyes because I'll be up till midnight with my computer.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
not it's not good. I'm not saying that's good, but it's just like I need to reinforce my boundaries and have different priorities. So you're helping me right
Amen.
now
Yeah.
with what I need to do as far as shutting down at night. Because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of us are there where we need to really we have all of these responsibilities and they're all good and we want to do them, but we have to also make sure that we're balancing it all
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, I used to be up late because I would be texting you like, Eb, I'm working on this post. Where's that? And it's 11 something at night. It's almost
Yeah,
midnight, and
yeah,
we're texting back and forth. And again, that goes back to, your presence that you would give me
yeah.
in the program. I'm like, she is responding to me. Oh
Mhm.
my God, this is crazy.
Don't say
But
that too loud because they're gonna be like, "Oh, let me sign up with her. She's
I
gonna
know
be available all hours of the night."
24-hour service. Oh my
Not
God.
anymore. Not anymore. No, but that I mean,
No.
I did take pride in that, being able to be that connected with clients. But
Yeah,
you got to course correct and know what
absolutely.
what boundaries you need to set. So, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh boy, those boundaries. We're not going to talk about the boundaries because we
Well,
could
what?
be
You sure? You
we
don't want
could,
to? You
we
you
could be
got
here
something?
all day talk about boundaries. You gonna therapize me right now? You
Yeah,
gonna
because come on, let's show the people now. Hold on.
Jesus.
Yeah, no,
Well,
it's
this next question could probably go into a boundary discussion, maybe.
okay.
So, looking back, what advice would you give another therapist or
Ooh,
a helping professional who wants to build their brand online?
ooh, that's good. And you know what? And I think it's gonna go back to like where I started.
Mm-hmm.
Um, First of all, do your research, like just the business part of it. Do your research, get a mentor. Somebody who's walked it, who knows it, who can connect you. Because that's what I had. I had a mentor, somebody. She wasn't that in the sense of the title, but she don't know that's what she was for me, my mentor.
Mm,
Um, but as far as building your presence online, it's important to know who you are. It's important to know your why.
yes,
It's important to know what am I saying, and it's important to know who am I talking to. Because
yes,
I think if not, if we, for my own experience, if you don't know that, you're just saying stuff. You're
right.
just out here, talking for the sake of doing that. And one thing I can say, the space already is saturated with therapists and helpers and counselors and life coaches and you name it, they're out here and it's saturated, which is there's not a problem with that. But if you're setting out just for yourself to figure out, okay, I want to be out there, just being very intentional about what am I doing? What am I saying? Who am I saying it to? And why?
Yeah.
Why am I saying it?
Yeah. I think the why is always important because if you know why you're doing something, it's easier for you to show up. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's going to be fully easy, but it's
Right.
easier to show up when you know why. And it's less likely for you to allow other things to stop you from that why.
Mhm.
So I think that's very, very important. Um, what what has been your proudest moment since launching Healing to Happiness?
Mm.
Do you have one?
Oh, what's been my proudest moment?
Proudest moment.
Yeah. I don't know if it was an exact moment, Ebony, but I do know, like as I sit here in my office and I'm
Mm,
looking around, I'm just thinking about there was a moment in time where things just started to like line up. It just felt like everything was aligning. Um, I had the right people around me, right? I had the space that came into now my clients come in and it's warm and it's inviting and they don't want to leave. I got some people that come in here and like, oh, the couch. Oh my God, I've been waiting to get back to the um I got that. And then, where I'm able to come and be present online and feel confident about that. Having so many success stories of
mhm.
people in their healing. And it just felt like even I told you on the back end, getting things in order,
Yes.
housekeeping in
Yeah.
order, taxes and,
Mm,
billing stuff, getting right with the insurances, making sure everything is in compliance. And so there felt like a moment, maybe like a year ago or so, maybe, or short thereof,
yeah.
where things just felt like they just came together and
Wow.
everything was operating in a space, not perfect, but
Mhm.
for the first time, I felt like, yeah, this is how it's supposed to be, you know,
Wow.
right now. And that's a good feeling because when you step out into a space where you never planned to be in the first place, you
Mhm.
already gonna feel like out of sorts. You
Yeah.
already feel like, and question yourself sometimes, like, what is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Because you come up against so much, which feels like opposition, but it ain't really that is opposition. You weren't prepared.
Right.
So
Right.
in doing all the work and things that I need to do and having people like you to guide in the different areas of my life,
Mm.
at some point it just all kind of lined up. And I was like, this I know is what I'm supposed to be doing. And
Wow.
God put me in this place to help people. And as much as I tried to run away from it, this is what I'm called to be. This is where
Wow.
I'm called to be.
That's just bringing me back to one of the conversations you and I had when you started I think it was when you started the program and you were like, I don't know what this is going to look like. I don't know how this is going to come together.
Yes.
And look, that was one of your biggest,
Wow.
proudest moments of it all coming
Mhm.
together. So look at that.
Look at full circle. You
Full
see?
circle.
Wow. Thank you for bring because I didn't even remember that. You
You
have a
would
good
think.
memory.
Well, it jogged my memory when you started talking about things being aligned. And I was like, I remember when she would come to sessions and even like just building the website, you didn't know what it was going to look like at the end, or you didn't know the services that you wanted to offer, and just how everything was just going to come together. If we're going to do like groups or just like
Yep.
everything, like you just were unsure about everything. And now it's like everything's coming together, it's feeling right to you, it's aligned, and it's beautiful. And I'm very happy to see, I was happy to see your journey from before the program, in the program, and after the program. So it's like you really progressed from, I don't even know how many, I think it's been a year since you, or a year or two since you've been in the program, maybe.
Yeah.
I
More
think,
than a year for sure.
yeah. So it's been nice to see your journey. And that's one of my proud moments when I have clients that actually take what they've learned and they go with it in their own way. It doesn't have to be what I would do because it's not my brand, it's your brand. So thank you for sharing that. So given all of that, with your business being aligned, you're comfortable, you're confident with showing up online however you want to show up online. What are your goals now for Healing to Happiness over the next few years?
Yeah. Yeah. In a more broader aspect, right? Um, I think I mentioned in the beginning that there are needs of the people.
Yeah.
Uh, the goal in a broader sense would be to build out a space
Mm,
that could meet those needs. So let's say, for instance, I have a mom coming in and the struggle is childcare,
mm,
right? Let's say I've got women who are struggling with relationship components and it's difficult, having groups or spaces for women, to come together. Let's say there are men, right, who are struggling and need just like a male voice, in a space that is positive, that is God-centered, so in my mind, broader sense, I haven't narrowed anything down, but these are different holes that I'm seeing. I see moms come in, with parenting stuff, and they're like, where do I go? My kid, it's not necessarily a therapy issue, but I need some help with the parenting or discipline, not, I don't want to say disciplining, but how to engage with my child. And some of that could be a family therapy thing, but some of that is a parenting thing, and knowing some parents come in and they're having issues with their children in school, and it's like, okay, but what do we ask for? Who do we talk to? Who can help us advocate, right?
right.
So, in my mind, in a broader sense, until we can narrow it down to what that looks like, is
Hmm.
being able to add other people
Yeah.
eventually, and then being able to add people for those spaces where we see a great need, not just one or two people needing it, but
Yeah.
there is a theme across the board where, man, there seems to be a gap there. Oh, I wonder what we could do if this person had a space or
Mm,
these people can come. I know a group of women who like, man, I'm trying to get this weight off, and I'd be like,
yeah. Mm,
okay, me too. And me too. What would it look like to be able to do walking groups, or, where we
yeah.
convene together and, in a therapeutic kind of way. But sometimes people just need support.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's more than therapeutic.
Yeah. It sounds like a resource hub for people.
Come on, Resource Hub.
Resource
Yeah,
hub where they
yeah.
can go to healing to happiness and get all their needs met. That's the slogan.
Come on.
Oh, well, thank you so much for taking time out to sit with me and just shoot the breeze about your brand. This is a series that I started, and I wanted to kind of take a few people that were in my program and really go deeper into their brand because you were in my program, and this is part of, building building that up. But I really appreciate you taking time to sit with me and talk about your brand and your experience in the program, and let people know where they can find you. And we're gonna have all of this in the description as well. But just give people where they could find you, the website that's now finished,
Yes.
all your social media platforms where they can reach you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I can be reached. The website is www.healingtohappiness.org. Look at that. Cat dad. So you could definitely come there, and there's a tab to contact, and the email will come directly to me if someone's interested, or even if they just want to go on and browse, and see what's there for now. Also, I am on IG. That's my one space. Now let me see. Hold on, Ebony. Let me find out what my thing is.
Your
Hold on.
handle, your
My
handle.
handle. Look, and the kids get on me all the time because I'd be like, hold on, let me look at my phone and see what that says.
All the
Uh,
clients don't know their website address, they don't know their handle, but it's all
and
good. It is
it's
all
all
good.
good. Yes, it's healing_to_happiness LLC. You
Yes.
can find me there on IG, and we can connect, look at the posts, reach out if you got questions or interest.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again so much. This is our second episode of Behind the Brand on the
Yes.
Brandon Bloom podcast. And we will see you all on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.